We're pleased to welcome you all to this launch of Academy of Real and Meta Analytics. Before the opening remarks by the MD CEO of Axon Analytics Limited, I'd like to call on all the panelists. So the first I will call upon is the lead facilitator for our 7-day machine learning course coming up from today till the next 7 days, who is also the keynote speaker of today's event, in the person of Rajesh Jakotia. He is a founding partner of K2 Analytics India. Please welcome him to the stage. You're welcome, sir. Rajesh has trained over 30,000 learners. He's impacted over 850 teaching hours, and we can see his work experience in his over 18 years industry experience in the field of data analytics. You're welcome, Rajesh Jakotia.
You're welcome once again.
Next, I'll call upon is Ibrahim Ahmed. He is the ITS business partner of Sanofi Nigeria, Ghana. Ibrahim was the manager, Information Systems, Alpha Beta Consultant, Lagos. He was the programmer, analyst, assistant consultant, and consultant at PwC Nigeria. From there, he became the manager, Information Solutions at Sanofi, and then the head of innovation, and currently the ITS business partner. You're welcome, Ibrahim Ahmed.
Please put your hands together.
And our female panelists, a lot of us might know her, the founder and the director of programs at GitGirl. She's no other person than Yvonne Alozie.
Please put your
Yvonne is the director of programs at GitGirl. GitGirl is a deep tech academy connecting women in Africa. She's all out for the women. Women empowerment, women. That's Yvonne. If you see her on social media, she's all pink. GitGirl. Welcome, Yvonne Alozie.
welcome.
And next is the enterprise data scientist at Sterling Bank. He's he was the head of business intelligence the head of business intelligence and analytics at IHS Towers. He is currently the enterprise data scientist at Sterling Bank in the person of Evans Otalo. Welcome, Evans. And next is one of us. He has always been here, and he's here again. Saket Kumar, you're welcome. He's the Chief Revenue Officer, Netcore Solutions, all the way from India. And the last but not the least is somebody we know very well. He's a new media marketing consultant. A lot of us know him. Kayode Abbas is here. So welcome to the podium, Kayode. Kayode is a renowned data-driven new media marketing consultant. He is the LinkedIn marketing specialist and head of operations at Nola Digital. At some point, I thought Kayode was the owner of Gokada, but I didn't know he was just doing the work for them. Welcome with me, Kayode Abbas. Please, a round of applause for all the panelists. We are all here to learn from them because these are people who have worked with data for a very long time in their life. And we are here as learners to start our day, to ignite that interest once again in data analytics. And so while we continue, I'll welcome the MD CEO of Axon Analytics, Chief Edere Abarma.
ARMA stands for Academy of Real and Meta Analytics. I'm sure real analytics is not a strange phenomenon for you. But how about the word meta? Well, as it often happens, large data is often interpreted not by one person or a single source, but by several. Therefore, an organization is often faced with interpretation from different units. And the meta part is designed to provide methodologies to aggregate the views of the various units into one, if you may call, average position. So you don't, it's like avoiding to put all your eggs in one basket. That's why it is called meta-analytics. It's about analytics. A little word of advice for our students. Kindly remember the organizations have put forward a sizable amount of money for you to attend this occasion. I will encourage you to view it as an opportunity because it's happening first time, I think, in Lagos, if not in Nigeria. You should take back to your various organizations real impactful knowledge. We like to get feedback and see how your time here and the next 7 days has been well or poorly spent. We shall make attempts to keep in touch with you with Rajesh Share to see what progress you are making. And please, we are doing this, it's not solely for profit. Axon is premised on the notion of providing Nigerian youths with an opportunity to advance themselves, ply their trade, and flourish. That's why we are here. And I encourage you to adopt the attitude of immersion learning. Be completely immersed in what you are doing. Don't be distracted. If you are distracted, you will lose much of the benefits of the course. It's not a day for long speech making, so perhaps I should end it here, but I shan't do so without again welcoming you all to this August occasion. Our distinguished panelists, I thank and welcome you all severally. I hope we will have a nice event together today. Thank you very much.
Please put your hands together.
Thanks, ARMA, for inviting me. Thanks, Edwin, for calling me all the way from India to be one of the keynote panelists on this topic. Thanks to the audience and the students who are participating. Regarding what is the importance of data, I think analytics and data analytics is going to influence us in every sphere of life going forward. Knowingly, unknowingly, it is already influencing us. For example, when we do a simple Google search to find a location near us, lots of analytics is going in the background to give us right results. So basically, we are already influenced by data, by analytics. And going forward, for any business house or any economy to grow at a much faster pace, it would be important that they harness the insights, the information which is lying inside data. It is being said that data is the new oil.
Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me to this event to share the podium with these esteemed speakers here and the audience as well. I'm very grateful. I agree partially with him that data is the new oil, and I disagree in another sense. I'm going to share both perspectives. I should start with why I disagree with him that data is the new oil. And that stems from your definition of what oil is. If you take oil to mean the lubricant that gives energy to your machine, then I completely agree with him. If you take oil to mean crude oil in the classic sense people use oil in the international economy, data has some semblance of some property of crude oil, but not all. For instance, we own data, all of us generate data, systems generate data. Individuals in essence are going to own data, but crude oil is not owned by individuals, rather it's controlled by government, and the proceeds of that goes to government. We don't have a defined mechanism for pricing data as yet. Maybe later in the future that's going to emerge. But for now, there is a standard mechanism for pricing crude oil. And there is a market where crude oil is sold. But beyond the technicalities of comparing data with crude oil, I can see lots of similarities. Crude oil is crude, data is also very crude. Crude oil needs to be refined, data also needs to be structured, you need to clean it up. You need to store it the same way we store different fractals of crude oil. We need to distribute it the same way we do the same thing with crude oil through different pipelines or ships, as the case may be. And then we need to consume it at the end of the day for different uses, the same way both be used.
Okay. To start with, I don't think that we are beginning to we're slightly beginning to understand the importance of data. But Africa as a continent, we still have a long way to go.
Nigeria particularly.
Nigeria particularly, because most of the problems that we face as developing economies or emerging markets is the fact that we are not yet able to harness our data the way we should. For instance, we cannot solve critical problems like hunger. We cannot solve critical problems like homelessness if we don't know how many people are out on the street. So we don't have sufficient data, we don't have sufficient identification systems that can even allow us count our people right. So data is a real problem here. So we have different levels of the problem, right? There is the problem of having so much random data that are in silos. So you have the national identity guys, they have their own data. You have the driver's license people, they have their own data. You have data in silos that are not being utilized properly. The CAC, the Corporate Affairs Commission, those guys should be able to drive the kind of investments we get in this country because they have large amounts of data on the kinds of businesses people are registering within different regions. Exactly. How many people are registering these businesses? Are they owned by women? Are they owned by men? Exactly. Where should we channel foreign investments to? They have a huge capacity to drive serious change if only they understand that this what they're sitting on is a gold mine and can be harnessed. And we also need to have a more open data platform that can allow different organizations to utilize structured data. So currently we have serious layers of problems for data. Another problem is, which is what ARMA is pretty much here to solve, is data talent. We don't have sufficient local talent that is groomed with the kind of skills that we need as well. So there is that problem.
So I feel that in the private sector, there are a lot of organizations are harnessing data, and the public sector will need to catch up.
Okay.
I'm sure Yvonne would like this. There's a shortage of talent in data science, and McKinsey did a report recently, and they said, out of every 10 business professionals, like there is one or even 0 data scientists among them. And in the future, it's even going to get, that gap is going to get bigger and bigger. So the good thing about it is that everybody would have to eventually learn data analysis, eventually. So irrespective of your gender, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you like it or not, the future we're heading towards, you have to. So if you are a business professional, you have to learn that data analysis it is compulsory, because in the future, machine learning is going to get, improved. We're going to have new data capabilities. Even to manage companies' data is going to become more challenging. So data is going to be the new raw material, just like iron was once the raw material of the industrial age. So data is the raw material of the information age. And those people that understand data, those people that can interpret data, those people that can, that manage this data, they are going to be the rulers of the world. They are going to control everything.
That the data collection sources are very minimal. So advice for the organization, at least start collecting the data. That is the first step. And then when you are analyzing millions of data, whether it is an online website or a retail chain, you need to have a basic layer of data analytics which will help you understand the patterns, segment of customers, profile, behavior. So I think during the session, try to correlate this data analytics with the business rather than just getting theoretical knowledge, because at the end of the day you are expected to use it in your day-to-day life, when you go back to your organization. So I would suggest that should be the next step, and try to also understand that what will you do with that data after you have got data, you have analyzed it, how do you make a use of it? So then you will be able to understand from end to end, and you will be able to bring that value of this training. So that's my advice.
Thank you very much.
Can you provide us with a comment or two about data privacy? Because data is good, we can benefit from it, but in the hands of government or people who are as skilled as you are, but have malicious intentions, it's a very dangerous commodity. I'd like to hear your comments.
In our space currently, sadly, your data is not that private. As long as I have access to it, I could just as easily write a section at the bottom of a form that basically allows me have access to that data and even share it with third parties. So our government, in this data boom that is I think is about to happen, our government needs to look at putting specific laws in place that protects the customers and their data. I'll give you a quick example. If you see a lot of organizations these days do what we call marketing blast. They just get data from people and then they send whatever information they want to send to everybody. Now, if you try that in some advanced countries, you're going to get sued and you're going to get fined up to 1.5% of your annual revenue. So we don't have some structures in place right now, but it's something that the government needs to look into. Thank you.
We're talking about the use of that data. Your money is in the bank. The bank cannot use that money anyhow, except the one you authorize, right? Yes.
No, that's not the way it works. What you see is your account balance. The money is being used for other purposes.
Well,
the guarantee is
the guarantee is that the instant you demand,
of course, they will provide it.
So it's not. You don't worry about what they are doing really, but practically they cannot do anything with your money without your say so. It's the same thing. Government may have custody of your data. The issue I'm raising is, should they be allowed to put it to any purpose, any use, without your authorization?
The federal government don't have to come and ask whether they should share such data. National security is what they will cite, and that's absorb them from any form of policy. Please.
Now the question is, would this data analytics trend put a lot of people out of jobs? Because I've read that it might be a danger to some professionals like myself who might not have that skill, right? And if it's going to put us out of jobs, when is our expiry date estimated? So that's just what
Sorry, let me ask, what is your profession, please?
Okay, I'm a client success manager for Network Solutions. So I work in marketing.
So why exactly do you think it will put you out of your job? Because in the same way it was very catchy to have Microsoft Office in your CV, the fact that you could use all the Microsoft Office tools, it's going to become very important that you can analyze data. It's evolution. It's just movement. You don't have to abandon your career, you don't have to abandon your line, your profession, to go and become a core data analyst, right? In marketing, there's marketing analytics. As a customer success person, you need to be an analyst as well to actually advance.
Okay, once again, my name is Ngozi Odukwem, the Organization and Networks Executive of Axon Analytics Limited. For the purpose of this, the project manager. Sure, before now, we all thought, maybe because we have background in natural science, physical science, engineering, we all thought we have what we need to work. But my discovery from today, and maybe before now, the totality of everything we know is actually infinitesimal to what there is to know regarding data analytics. And that's, with this, I'm also sure that at the end of today, we have been able to catch a glimpse into the future of data analytics. And so with this, I would like to say a very big thank you to our panelists, Rajesh Jakotia, Ibrahim Mohamed, Ivona Lozier, Evans Otalo, Saket Kumar, and Kayode Abbas. Thank you very much for being here with us and for opening our eyes to what lies ahead of us. And I'm sure from our discussion we have seen that it is not because we do not plan, that is why plans fail. Let me quote Benjamin Franklin, that if we fail to plan, we plan to fail. But the reality is, if we fail to plan from an informed point of view, regardless of the reasoning of the planners, our plans will fail. Because I'm a project manager, I'm proud to announce that I've failed in some projects and I've succeeded. There was what I did in one of my former lives, and we called it Operation Dough Bill. Dough Bill was a plan that we wanted to generate revenue. Dough, to bill, billion. And then we thought we had all that we needed because we had a very strong team. But when we got into the field, we realized that our slogan did not hold water. We could not even generate even bill, let alone dough bill. And not just on a personal level, I'm sure some of us here who are project managers will see, it's not enough to quote one slogan. If you do not back it with data, definitely that plan is going to fail. Talk about Nigeria. Before now, those of us who were born some years back, we heard of food for all by the year 2000, eradication of the 6 deadly childhood diseases, infant mortality, all of that by the year 2000. Are we there yet? And then we had the 6 MDGs. I happened to anchor a project then in Anambra State of the preparedness of Anambra State in ensuring the 7th MDG, which is environmental sustainability. And that was gone in 2015. We did not achieve it. Okay, I will move on to SDG 2030. Oh, before then, I think we have vision. Are we? 2020 is just 2 months. It's just 2 months away. I don't know if we are there yet. And so I say again, that it is not if you fail to plan that you plan to fail. If you fail to plan from an informed point of view, regardless of the reasoning of the planners, that plan is poised to fail. And what do we mean by information? Information is just structured data. In fact, data actually leads to information. I'm here to learn that now. I will learn all of this now. So thank you all for joining this event, the future of data analytics. If all these do not scare you, we have also mentioned that quite a good number of jobs are getting displaced. Okay, now Yvonne said it's not the jobs. It is individuals that will be displaced. If you do not upgrade your resume, you are definitely getting obsolete. And if that doesn't scare you again, Ibrahim mentioned something that hackers, They plan ahead, they think ahead of you. So if you do not care about anything, think about your bank account. What will happen to you if it gets hacked? Then you now know that you need to gather a little knowledge of data analytics. This is surely not the end. In fact, from here we're moving to class to go and hack the data, to go and learn more about data in a 7-day machine learning course. After now, we will have series of events. We'll have our bi-monthly webinars. We'll have more trainings coming up. We have your contact details. We already have your data captured. So don't worry, we will find you wherever you are, and we will invite you to our next event. This, I say, is not the end. We will surely keep in touch. Thank you all for participating.
Please put your hands together. Thank you very much. The gentleman of the press.
Okay, my name is Ejiri Afamwa. I am the founder and CEO of Action Analytics, which by virtue of the name is the company involved in data
headquartered at 68 Adetukumbu Ademola in Victoria Island.
Okay, sir. What can you say about data system in Nigeria, and how is it impacting on businesses and investments?
It's at various levels. With the multinational companies and the oil companies, they are the highest level of data utilization and information technology. Then next, I think the banks and financial institutions are also on the way there. But for the rest of society, I think they are far below in the use of data and application of information technology. So they have to up their game.
Okay, sir. What role should government play to ensure we have accurate data in the country, and how will it impact the economy?
Well, experience gained from other countries shows that data and data mining is very essential for economic growth, and if the government will ensure the enactment of appropriate laws and create an enticing environment, then the economy should respond dynamically and should have growth above 5 or 6% of GDP. Without that, I think we'll continue to grow well in the dark. Government really has to set up platforms and fora where information technology and data analysis is brought to the forefront for the use of everybody.
What do you think is the future of data analytics?
The future of data analytics is that we're already in the future because it's already impacting on our daily life. Most of us don't realize it, of course, but actually it's impacting on our daily life, and it's going to continue to be so. The way it's going, it's evolving rapidly into artificial intelligence. With artificial intelligence, you'll find machines all over the place that are capable of doing everything that a human being can do for now. And any society that does not brace up to develop its data analytics capacity and machine learning is going to be left behind. And it will be nobody's fault. That's what the future looks like.
Thank you.
Thank you. This seminar, the launching of this series of courses is one of the ways we think we can assist to bridge the gap. Because data analysis is actually knowledge-based. It's what you know. The tools are available online, in many cases, in what is called open source. But you have to know how to access those tools in order to use them effectively. So it's not as if to do analytics, you have to invest heavy sums of money. If you're a corporate organization, of course, you like a professional approach to it, in which case you may want to invest in good quality tools that will ensure meet your corporate standards. But as an individual, to forward your own knowledge and skill, all you have to do is to know what you want to do. The knowledge is all you need. The tools are available online if you know how to access them. So for Nigerian youth, I will encourage them to take this very seriously, because it provides one other avenue where they can excel and flourish all over the world.
Hi, I'm Rajesh Jakodia. I'm from India. I'm the founder member of K2 Analytics. Back in India, I run a training services where I teach people on data analysis. I thank ARMA for inviting me here for this summit and this panel discussion on data analytics and the future of data analytics. I think there's a huge opportunity which is lying untapped when we harness data. And going forward, data is going to be the new oil. I understand in past, oil has been one of the major resources and revenue back here in Nigeria. However, that resource, if you see, is getting consumed, and with each passing day, basically that resources will keep going down. And whereas on the other hand, if you see data, with each passing day, data is being exponentially generated. More and more data is being generated. If you compare the tech giants, the 5 big tech giants, the Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft, all of them today what they are doing is they are making use of data to generate their revenue, and with that revenue they have become billion dollars companies and almost touching $1 trillion of market valuation. So with data, I see that kind of growth which is possible for big companies and data companies which are back here in Nigeria. If you properly harness data, it can lead to lots of new jobs, employment for the youth, and growth of the overall economy. Thank you.
My name is Evan Sutalo. I'm the Enterprise Data Scientist at Sterling Bank.
So can you tell us? They said that in the nearest future that data is going to take over some jobs. People will not get jobs anymore. What is your opinion on this?
In my opinion, data will help optimize processes. So there might be processes that would take about 5 or 10 steps, and through the analysis of data, those steps will be reduced. Now, so the thing is that yes, some jobs will go out of fashion, right? But in doing that, in that whole data and digital revolution, other jobs will come into existence. So while people might lose jobs, but if they upgrade themselves and they acquire new skills, they should be able to fill the new kind of jobs that will be, that will be applicable now. So they're partially right. They're partially right. Some jobs will go, but other jobs will be created when that happens as well.
So what can you say about the data system in Nigeria, and how is it impacting the businesses and investments?
So currently, the data systems in Nigeria is being driven by the private sector, and to be honest, it's quite impressive. Everyone has come to realize that through data, they will be able to stay in, they will be able to compete with other organizations within their space. I think this is good. I think this will help the country as a whole and help drive the whole economy towards certain goals.
So what role should government play to ensure we have accurate data in the country, and how will it impact the economy?
Now, the role of government it's in the public sector, they would have to create structures and processes to gather this data and make it available. The ones that need to be available for the other citizens, for the private sector to utilize. Government will have to create systems that would enable the private sector to access this data and use it to also help improve their own processes.
Yeah, talking about hacking now, so there are hackers around. Is there any way government can protect data from being hacked, or is it an individual thing? What is your own opinion?
The only way data could do, government could do that is to create laws that would set a minimum standard for organizations to have in terms of how they protect their data. If they have that minimum standard and that standard is quite high, it will reduce the instance of hackers being able to hack into their systems and access their data. So that's the role government would have to play in that instance, to create laws that will set minimum standards for organizations to operate in.
So you, as a data person,
yes,
we are aware of this Yahoo thing now.
Yes.
So this is another form of hacking. Is there anything I can do as an individual for my data not to be hacked into? Are there explanations? Are there devices? Are there instruments aside from?
So it's two parts. There are roles that you have to play, but your data does not only sit with you. Your data also sits with other organizations. You as a person need to protect your data. You need to watch the kind of information you give out randomly, the kind of information you share with other people, and the kind of information you store with little or no protection. At the same time, other organizations also have their data, which speaks to the first point I made with the government providing certain structures, certain laws to set minimum standards of protection. If these organizations also protect your data effectively, hackers will have a more difficult time in accessing those data as well. So it's on two fronts. You have to protect, organizations have to protect as well.
So from today's press conference, what's the way forward? What do you think is the future of data analytics?
And the main issue with data analytics currently is the way we capture and store the data. It's in two fronts. The way we capture and store the data and the way we analyze it. We just have to keep on building structures and processes to help us gather and store this data. And then we need to enable ourselves, we need to equip ourselves with the right skill sets that is required to analyze this data and extract valuable insights from it in order to make key decisions.
My name is Yvonne Alozie, and I co-founded a company called Kids Girl that's training women and matching them with jobs in tech. And we run a school of data that runs about 7 different data courses: back-end engineering, data engineering, machine learning, data science, data analytics. I'm also the director of programs for Open Bank in Nigeria, and I'm also a business intelligence consultant.
So what can you say about the data system in Nigeria, and how is it impacting on business and business?
Okay, so I still feel like the data we have here is not mined well enough to give us relevant insights and information into how to move the country forward. And we can do a lot better. We can do a lot better to create an open data system that can allow us share structured data, especially government agencies amongst each other, and third-party private sectors that are willing to develop the country and help the government as well.
So what role do you think the government should play to ensure we have accurate data in the country, and how will it impact the economy?
Okay, so we currently have a lot of data that the government has. How can we make sure that it's accurate? By constantly cleaning it up, structuring it, and reviewing it. So for instance, the last time we conducted the census, another one hasn't been conducted, and we've been working with the data gotten from that last census, which is grossly inaccurate for us to be working with right now. So we need to keep doing things like that to ensure that we are gathering relevant information, we're gathering relevant data. Government also needs to improve its identification system, especially for people who do not have the opportunity to access an ID card. And this is the reason is once you have an ID card, your data is in the system. And once your data is in the system, government has better information as to what you do, whether you're unemployed or you're employed, and will be able to provide and create better solutions and programs that can help us as a country.
So finally, what do you think the future of data analytics is like in Nigeria?
For now, I think to start with, number one, is going to create a lot of jobs for young people. And not just for us applying it here, but a lot of young talent is going to be exported and outsourced to services and to companies outside the country. Secondly, it's going to be very transformative for the country because a lot of programs will be created to solve our major problems. And once our problems are solved, then that means everyone is happy and fine. So data analytics is going to become a very relevant skill that everybody should have. It's going to help the government move a step forward into bringing us into a developed economy and a developed market, closer than we think, really.
Wait, one more final question. You have a lot of Yahoo boys outside. Cyber crimes and stuff like that. What is the way forward? Talking about hacking now.
Talking about
hacking.
Okay, so my fellow panelists said something about cybersecurity measures, which is very important. And if cybersecurity measures are not put in place, these guys will keep thinking 2 steps ahead of us, really. And then understanding the importance of data, understanding data management, understanding data security would, for individuals, everybody, would also help us understand how to protect ourselves from cybercrime.